It's Friday, July 21, 2023. Good morning and welcome to the morning news here on TV3 with me, Godwin Asidiba. Coming up this morning. In the bulletin, National Association of Graduate Teachers, NAGRAT, calls for reinstatement of head mistress of West Africa Secondary School who was indicted for charging fees. Also in the bulletin, governing New Patriotic Party NPP to go ahead of its decentralized Special Delegates Congress throws out a petition from 9 presidential candidates who wanted a centralized conference. Consideration of the Ghana Commission for UNESCO Bill 2022 suffered a major setback over lack of quorum in Parliament on Thursday. Ahead on the international front, Kenyan President Ruto praises pleas for ensuring peace amid opposition protests. We have details of these and some of the stories coming your way this morning. Stay with us. The bulletin is live on DSTV channel 279. We are also streaming across the world on Facebook at TV3 Ghana. Do join us with your thoughts and your comments as well. The details now. The National Council of the New Patriotic Party has resolved to conduct its Superdelegates Conference slated for August 26 at the regional level. After more than 4 hours of meeting, the council settled on the decision despite 9 of the presidential aspirants and other supporters earlier kicking against the decentralized system of voting.
Well, it was a very successful meeting. The National Council, which is clothed with the power to determine the venue and date for our presidential primaries, by majority decision decided that the Special Delegates College should be held at the various regions, in line with what happened in 2014. So basically, that was the decision of National Council. Then again, also, National Council constituted a committee, elections committee, to supervise the presidential primaries, which is chaired by Professor Michael Quay. One of the key points that was raised at National Council was that it does not even matter if all the 10 aspirants had signed that they wanted it to be held at one venue. Still, National Council would have still gone ahead to take its own decision. So it's not the aspirant who will determine venue for election. It's the National Council that determines. Yes, you can make a request, but the request can be accepted or rejected. But at the end of the day, even the petitioners, those who supported and those who are against, we're all happy that the process was fair. We allowed everyone to vent his proposal. But at the end of the day, the National Council has decided, and we all gladly accept and willing to abide by the decision of National Council. And then we also talked about the album verification exercise. The National Council also made it clear to the aspirant that the album verification is an internal exercise by the party. It's not because one is contesting for presidential primaries. That's why we are doing the verification. It's also to make sure that as a party we have a credible voter or album register for even the presidential primary and the parliamentary primaries. Every person who is entitled to vote will have his or her picture in the album, and that is what will be given to the aspirants.
The steering committee of the governing New Patriotic Party were in a crunch meeting yesterday as 9 flag-bearer aspirants were opposed to a decentralized Special Delegates Congress. They argued that decentralizing an election for only 90 voters will not be a wise decision.
Just before the all-important meeting of the steering committee of the NPP comes to an end here at the Alisa Hotel, there's this group of sympathizers of the NPP made up of some executives of the party at the various local levels. Writing on the various cards they are holding, you see, no victimization, no intimidation. Super delegates must be at one location. There's also the claim that breaking the aid must start with a centralized Super Delegates Congress. Also, if we can put 6,500 people at one place, Why not less than 900 people? So these are some of the concerns or the reasons they are citing.
We are opposing it because we want the thing to be done at one place so that the monitoring and everything will be set. When it is at one place, we can focus our attention and make sure we monitor the election the way it's supposed to go. Who wins, wins. We are not behind anybody.
You know, various people have various doubts about our leaders, the way they've compromised themselves in supporting one candidate. And so in clearing any doubt about it, they should do it at a congregated place so that we all have our peace. It costs a lot to employ people to man the voting process. And so if we are going to hire people to go around the regions, manning the boxes and the voting process, it costs a lot. And so it will add to the cost of the aspirants. Already they are having problems with the finance. And so we are saying that why don't you centralize so that it will erase any doubt.
Meanwhile, Professor of Political Science at the University of Ghana, Professor Ransford Jampo, says no matter which form the NPP Superdelegate Congress take, it would not affect the fortunes of any candidate of the aspirants.
I don't think, it will be childish and naive and but for anyone to think that but merely organizing a centralized special delegate conference disadvantages anybody. Then it means that the person has not even done his homework well. I believe Dr. Bawumia has done extensive tour of the various regions and constituencies, and he's spoken to those who will be voting to decide who must lead the party as flag bearer. And so if he's done his homework well, then whether it is decentralized or centralized will be inconsequential in determining anyone's electoral fortunes in this particular exercise.
Consideration of the Ghana Commission for the UNESCO Bill 2022 suffered a major setback of a lack of quorum to take a voting decision. Despite agreeing to the head count, Majority Chief Whip Frank Anodompre was forced to move for an adjournment.
When the question has been put by Mr. Speaker at the conclusion of the debate, the vote shall be taken by voices aye and no, provided that Mr. Speaker may, in his discretion, instead of declaring the result on the voice vote, call for a head count. 2 says a member may call for the head count or division if the opinion of Mr. Speaker on the voice vote is challenged. On this note, I wish to challenge the voice vote and call for a head count.
If anybody raises an objection now and we count, we cannot get the number necessary to take a decision. However, in view of the record here, I would rather we go on with the discussions and defer all decisions.
You had earlier on put a question. The question was subsequently challenged by the Honorable Suhuyini. He raised the issue of Order 113. Mr. Speaker, I am of the view that we'll make a determination on the challenge that he has actually challenged the question that you put, so that we can make progress.
We need to be careful the path we are blazing. We are setting a very dangerous precedent, which will come and haunt all of us one day. The practice has been, during the consideration stage of bills, how many of us sit in this chamber? It's a display of bad faith on your part, because we didn't hide anything from you. At the conclave, we came to a conclusion. The items or businesses that we needed to transact, and amongst them were critical bills, the wildlife bill, and then later we concluded on the UNESCO bill. And I communicated to my colleague, why are we doing this to ourselves? Look, if you have some other motive, let's know. We accept the challenge that we should do a head count. Yes, we accept the challenge. Let's go through the motion and do the head count.
Other members, the total number of the votes clearly shows that we don't have the numbers to take a decision. 46 plus 27 takes us to 73. The number of MPs present at this time is 73. We can't take a decision.
My colleagues should not make it as if the two of us actually made a decision that we will make sure 92 people are available for us to make a decision. I can understand the public is watching. When you counted the number of people on both sides, we don't have the number. Mr. Speaker,
What next? Because it appears
to adjourn to tomorrow, 10 o'clock in the forenoon.
Honorable members, the House is adjourned till Friday, 21st July 2023 at 10 o'clock in the forenoon.
The former NPP Northern Regional Chairman Bugri Nabu is demanding the release of his personal aide and receptionists who were picked up by the National Investigative Bureau. But ranking member on the Defense and Interior Committee in Parliament, James Agalga, says this latest revelation will make the work of the special committee set up by the Speaker to investigate the leaked audio easier.
They took the lead that we're going to work. My personal aide, SK, and then my reception, also called Equia. We left that we were going to work. And I came to the office. I can't see my special aide, and then I can't see my reception. Then I started calling because I was getting frightened that maybe accidents. So I started calling to see their whereabouts. Now, I just been informed they are both at BNI office at Kokuri Junction when they were about to come to work, and they were picked by the gate by the BNI people. And then I learned there was they came with a white car, and police people were well armed and pushed them in and took them away. So I'm appealing to you, the journalists, and I'm getting some lawyers also to join there and find out what is going on.
Why has the BNI arrested them?
I wouldn't know, because the whole of this week, I didn't respond to anybody, and I haven't talked to anybody. I want to know what is going on. Please, I don't want trouble.
You don't want trouble?
I don't want trouble.
Do you think that an arrest is in connection with a tip?
Well, this is what I'm telling you. Somebody's telling people, some people are saying that it has connection with the tip.
Today's interview, which is on video, definitely would become part of the evidence that the committee should be looking at. Having said that, I would not want to predetermine anything. Otherwise, the work of the committee would stand prejudiced. But to think that Bugri Nabu, who was suspected to have been part of people who participated in the plot to get rid of the IGP, it's quite bizarre that such would go out of the way and grandfather to a certain degree authenticates the leaked audio, which has now become the subject of the impending parliamentary probe. Having said that, it's very crucial for us to appreciate the fact that the NIB has intervened, because there is a criminal dimension to the video, because
the National Association of Graduate Teachers, NAGRAT, is demanding the reinstatement of the interdicted headmistress of West African Senior High School over the unauthorized fees. President of NAGRAT, Angel Kabonu, blamed the GES for not ensuring adequate supplies to schools. Executive Director of the Institute for Education Studies, Dr. Patianti, for his part, argues school head should be wise to face the challenges that comes with when lessons proceed.
It is parents themselves, through the ingenuity of the president of the PTE, identify problems in the school, and then they decide to levy themselves. The only problem for the investigation that I have carried is that it is the assistant headmaster who gave his MOMO number to be the conduit through which the monies are paid. The investigation should rather go into what is the money collected used for. Is it used for the consumption of an individual, or it is for the purpose that will enhance the education of the students? If it's for the purpose that will enhance the education of the student, it tells you that there is government supply deficit that created the vacuum for the need for these monies to be collected to fill that deficit. Sometimes I also blame the heads. They are too enthusiastic to ensure that there is education for the students. I will advise, in the current situation, the head of the school should also stay aloof. Maybe they are not staying aloof enough for the government to see that there is a problem. They are being moved by the need to provide good education, and they take actions that will get them in trouble. We are calling for the reinstatement of the headmistress of West Africa Secondary School, because the problem is bigger than the incident that occurred in West Africa Senior High School.
We all know that the financing our secondary education is going through serious challenges. Unfortunately, a lot of us who have raised these issues have not gotten the needed support from the authorities, and that is why some of the headmistresses and headmasters and school authorities are finding ways and means to ensure that they are able to still sustain the kids and provide them with the needed kind of education that they need. Unfortunately, the managers of our education do not appreciate these gestures, these innovative ideas and ways of solving the problems. Leaders or the managers of education still don't believe that there should be ways and means to solve the challenges that confront the running of our senior high schools. In law, they normally tell you that you look at the motive behind the action. Unfortunately, the managers of our education do not think that way. They only look at the action and they classify the action as illegal. So now the headmistress is being portrayed as somebody who is extorting money from students and going to use the money for whatever that she wants, which is not the case. So whilst the employer is not interested in the motive of taking an action, what you as a headmaster or headmistress needs to do is also to ensure that you don't put yourself in a situation whereby you would be embarrassed in the public domain. So I'm thinking, and I'm tempted to agree with Angel, that headmasters and headmistresses should maybe sit aloof and watch the case go through the challenges that they are going through. Maybe I will move a step further and suggest that in cases where they think that the challenges are overwhelming, they think that they are having sleepless nights over the lack of resources in their school, they should release videos, audios, pictures in the public domain. That would yield better results than they going the illegal way in the mind of GES and Ministry of Education, so that at the end of the day, they don't get the...
Chiefs and opinion leaders of NIMA in Accra opposed to the installment of a rival chief. At the news conference, they requested a swift intervention by government to forestall a looming chieftaincy conflict in the municipality.
NIMA has enjoyed more than 6 decades of peace after a 1951 protracted chieftaincy conflict. According to chiefs and opinion leaders, the conflict is bound to recur if the state does not immediately intervene.
I think we are calling the attention of all the concerned institutions. You get me? So that what is happening, they should be aware, because we have sent a letter to all the stakeholders in the country, police and everywhere. We have sent letters because what we are going to, we are calling the attention of the government to step in to bring peace in NIMA. Because if peace is not in NIMA, the government is not in peace.
Ghana, we are living in peace. What happened in 1951, we don't want it to happen now again. NIMA is a big stomach. You know what I mean by big stomach? So if we vomit it, it will escalate. That's why we did this to bring tension down.
He said the community's leadership has already petitioned the Ministry of Chieftaincy and Religious Affairs over the issue, while other aspects are pending in court. NIMA is one of the densely populated Zongo settlements in Accra.
Chief Executive Officer of the National Food Buffer Stock Company says the company will still work with the suppliers without victimization after full payment of arrears. Hanan Abdul Wahab is confident full payment will be made by August 17. George Quaining reports.
National Food Buffer Stock Company responded for the first time after a series of agitations by members of the Food Suppliers Association.
We have given them a business that we have paid of 2.7 billion Ghana cedis. So 203 million Ghana cedis shouldn't be something that is going to, destroy the relationship.
Hanan Abdul Wahab says the picketing is not what has triggered the payment.
My personality was taken on, but as a leader, it's all good. But trust me, I don't hold anything against any supplier. The path is not rough, it's still smooth.
He clarified the exact arrears.
What we actually owe suppliers out of the 273 is 203 million. And don't forget that Buffer Stock itself is the biggest supplier. We cannot add whatever government owes us to the media.
He further debunked allegations of receiving a total of 480 million cedis from the Education Ministry to settle the company's debt rather than those of the suppliers.
The entire free senior high school feeding budget is far more than even 418 million. So clearly it is not the right figure. Every single money taken from Ministry of Education is used to pay suppliers. And if we had received that money as the press release sought to portray to the general public, then why is government releasing money now for us to pay suppliers?
As at the time that this report was filed, about 70 of the 228 suppliers, had been given their checks. According to the CEO of the company, he's sure all 228 would have been given their checks.
I am not satisfied with the payment. We thought we would be paid half of the 2 areas, but we are only paid half for 2021. It can't pay anything. The funds are meager, so we are not satisfied. We'll return on August 17 for the balance. We don't even know what to tell our creditors.
All of us cannot be here. Definitely, others would have to fight for the rest. At the end of the day, our goal has been achieved. And then, even though they've not paid everything, at least we've received something.
If the words of Hanan Abdul Wahab and that of the Agric Minister are anything to go by, then by August 17, suppliers would have been paid the balance of the arrears. George Quenin, TV3 News, Accra.
Let's do some international news now. Kenya's President William Ruto has praised the police for ensuring peace during recent opposition protests, but a leading rights group has described their action as an act of terrorism. Over the past 4 months of demonstrations, there have been several deaths, including 10 people who were shot by police last week. Local media are reporting that 6 people died on Wednesday in clashes with the police. The Kenya Human Rights Commission, with an NGO, said there was a troubling pattern to show that the police's actions are used to lethal force were premeditated, but President Ruto characterized the response as the police protecting people and property. There is no official death toll, but Amnesty International says that police have killed at least 30 people since March, when the anti-government protests began. The opposition has called for a series of rallies against the introduction of new taxes and the rising cost of living. Currently, the country is experiencing the second day of 3-day protest. Really unfortunate happenings in Kenya, but that's how we end the news this morning. With me, Godwin Asidwa. There's more news if you log on to 3news.com. The show continues with Bella Mundi and Roland Walker. Good morning, guys.